Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. This time we're looking way ahead to 2026 in the world of Formula One.
Yeah.
Huge
Yeah.
engine regulation changes are coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they could really shake up which teams end up on top of the standings.
For sure.
Our source for this deep dive is an article featuring the legendary ADRIAN Newey,
Oh, yeah.
F1 design legend, currently at Aston Martin.
Yep.
And he's predicting that we might actually see a single manufacturer dominating the sport.
Wow.
Kind of like we saw with Mercedes in the early hybrid era.
Interesting.
So
how does he connect these regulation changes to potential dominance? I mean, it's not just about building the fastest car, right? It's about where the advantage comes from.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And to understand that, we have to first look at what these 2026 regulations actually change.
Okay.
So first of all, we're saying goodbye to the MGUH.
Okay.
This is the part of the hybrid system that recovers energy from the turbocharger's exhaust heat.
Right. And it was incredibly complex and expensive to develop. Some manufacturers actually saw it as a barrier to entry to even join the sport.
Oh, wow. So getting rid of it makes sense from a cost and simplicity standpoint?
Yeah, definitely.
But wouldn't that make all the cars more similar then?
Well, that's where it gets tricky.
Okay.
While MGUH is out, the MGUK is getting a power boost.
Okay. And just to remind everyone, what's that?
Yeah, so that's the part that gathers energy from braking.
Right.
Plus, on top of that, we're also seeing the introduction of 100% sustainable fuels in 2026.
Wow.
So, yeah, while one complex element is gone, other areas are becoming even more important for performance.
I see. So we've got these two big areas where a team could find an edge.
Mm-hmm.
The electric MGUK and the sustainable fuels.
Yeah.
Are these equally likely to create that runaway dominance that Newey is talking about?
Well, Newey actually breaks it down like this.
Okay.
Let's say a team nails the combustion engine design right out of the gate.
Okay.
That advantage is going to be really hard to overcome because it's literally the core of the power unit.
So you're saying if one team has a significantly better combustion engine from the get-go,
Yeah.
we could see them dominating for years.
Potentially, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Remember, the rules around developing the combustion engine are quite strict.
Right.
So if someone really cracks the code early on,
Hmm.
it could take the other teams a very long time to catch up.
Oh, man, that would be a tough break for the other teams.
Definitely.
Almost like starting the race a lap behind.
Yeah, you could say that.
But what about the electrical side with the MGUK? Is that a potential path to dominance too?
It is, but Newey suggests it's a bit of a different story there.
Okay.
With the electrical system, there's more room for teams to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this kind of technology is evolving so quickly,
Right.
and teams can make improvements throughout the season.
So the MGUK is more of a dynamic playing field
Yeah,
with the potential for the rankings to shift more than with the combustion engine.
exactly.
Okay, so what about the sustainable fuels? Could a team just dominate purely by having superior fuel?
It's possible, but there are a few things that might limit the impact of fuel alone.
Okay.
You've got the regulations that restrict testing.
Right.
And these engines are so finely tuned that just having better fuel doesn't automatically mean a huge performance jump.
So you can't just pour rocket fuel into an F1 engine and expect to win.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
It's all about how the fuel works with the engine, not just the fuel itself.
makes sense. It sounds like Newey has a lot to think about with Aston Martin
Right.
if they want to be at the front in 2026.
He definitely does. He's made it clear that the 2026 car is his main focus.
Mm-hmm.
He knows they need to get the design right from day one because, as we've been saying,
Yeah,
falling behind early could be really, really tough to recover from.
but he's not ignoring this current season, is he? I mean, they're still competing for a championship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He said that while his primary focus is on 2026, he's still contributing to the 2025 car's development.
Oh.
He's even admitted there's a bit of a learning curve for him with these new regulations.
It's crazy to think about ADRIAN Newey, a master of F1 design, still sees opportunities to learn.
I know, right? It's amazing.
He's fully committed to this challenge while still supporting the team this season. He really seems to thrive on pushing boundaries.
That's definitely a hallmark of his career. He's never been afraid of the unknown, and he's always pushing the limits of what's possible in F1 car design.
Yeah,
It's pretty inspiring
it is.
to see that kind of dedication
Absolutely.
at that level.
Yeah,
It's pretty incredible.
it is.
So we've been talking about how these 2026 engine regulations could really lead to a single team dominating Formula One.
Yeah.
Kind of like what we saw with Mercedes early in the hybrid era.
It's fascinating how Newey really emphasizes It's not just about who builds the fastest engine, but where that advantage comes from.
Right. Like he points out that an early advantage with the combustion engine is going to be much harder to overcome than, say, an advantage with the electrical system.
Yeah, it sounds like if a team just nails that combustion engine design right from the start, the other teams might as well just wave the white flag.
Well, not quite. I mean, it's not impossible to catch up, but it would be incredibly challenging.
Yeah.
You know, they'd have to find some very innovative ways to improve their engines, all while working within these really strict regulations.
It makes you wonder, would Formula One even want to see that level of dominance again?
Right.
It's great to see a team at the top.
Yeah.
But nobody wants the championship decided before the season even begins.
Exactly. A long period of dominance can really hurt the sport.
Yeah.
You know, if the races become predictable,
yeah,
fans might lose interest.
For sure.
Viewership could drop. People want to see exciting battles and unexpected winners.
Absolutely. So it seems like the people who write these regulations, they have a really tricky job.
For sure.
They want to encourage innovation and let teams explore new technologies.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they need to ensure that no single team gets an unbeatable advantage.
It's a real balancing act.
Yeah.
Too many restrictions, and you stifle creativity.
Yeah.
And you potentially make the sport less exciting.
Right.
Too few, and you risk another period of domination where one team just runs away with the championship year after year.
This reminds me of the early 2010s.
Oh, yeah.
When Red Bull, with Newey designing their cars, dominated with their mastery of aerodynamics.
Yeah.
That was a fascinating period.
It was.
But I imagine the other teams felt like they were stuck in second gear trying to catch up.
Yeah, that's true. And it's interesting that Newey, who was behind that period of aerodynamic dominance, is now warning about the potential for engine dominance.
Right.
It really shows how much he understands the nuances of these technical regulations and how they can shape the sport.
It's almost poetic.
Yeah.
The architect of aerodynamic dominance now warning about engine dominance. It's a testament to his deep understanding of how these technical details can completely change the face of Formula One.
It really is, and it highlights the cyclical nature of Formula One. Yeah. You know, teams rise and fall, technologies evolve.
Right.
Regulations are constantly adjusted to try and maintain a balance between innovation and competition.
But it's not all doom and gloom.
Right.
Newey also points out that if the advantage comes from the electrical system, the MGUK, there's a better chance for other teams to close the gap.
Yeah.
Because the technology is still evolving rapidly.
Exactly.
There's more opportunity for teams to innovate in that area.
That's right. Teams that might not have the best combustion engine from the start could still make up ground by developing a more sophisticated or efficient electrical system.
Okay.
You know, it might not be easy, but it's definitely more achievable than trying to make up for a major disadvantage in combustion engine performance.
This raises a crucial question.
Okay.
If a team does achieve this kind of early dominance in 2026, what can they do to keep things interesting?
Right.
And ensure it doesn't hurt the sport? What steps could they take to prevent it from becoming another period of predictability?
That's a great question, and it's something that teams, especially those who find themselves in a dominant position, need to think about seriously.
Yeah.
If they want the sport to thrive, they have a responsibility to keep things competitive.
So how could a dominant team actually contribute to keeping the sport exciting?
Well,
what would that look like in practice?
For starters, they could resist becoming complacent.
Okay.
Even with a big advantage, they should keep pushing the boundaries of innovation.
So don't just sit back and relax.
Exactly.
Okay.
Maybe they could invest in developing young talent, both drivers and engineers, which would help ensure a strong future for the sport.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
It's about supporting the next generation of competitors and making sure that the sport has a bright future, even if they're the ones currently at the top.
Exactly. And they could also engage in sharing knowledge.
Okay.
Of course, they wouldn't want to reveal all their secrets, but maybe they could contribute to the overall advancement of the sport's technology.
So instead of hoarding their knowledge and using it to crush the competition, they could actually help to raise the overall level of competition.
Precisely. It might seem counterintuitive, but a dominant team can play a vital role in ensuring that the sport stays healthy and exciting.
Okay.
They need to realize that their success is tied to the overall success of Formula One.
This brings us back to something we discussed earlier about the ethical implications of dominance.
Yeah.
Is it fair for a single team to potentially dominate for a long period?
It's a tough question, and there isn't an easy answer.
Right.
You could argue that a team's dominance is simply the result of them outperforming their rivals. They've been innovative, they've executed flawlessly, and they've earned their success.
Right.
But then again, wouldn't prolonged dominance eventually harm the sport?
Yeah.
It could drive away fans and sponsors if the outcome becomes too predictable.
That's the risk, and it's why teams, especially those in a dominant position, need to think carefully about their role in maintaining the health and competitiveness of Formula One.
They need to find that sweet spot where they can push the limits of performance without completely stifling the competition.
Right.
It's a delicate balance, but it's essential for the long-term sustainability of the sport.
It's almost like they need to find a way to win without crushing the competition completely.
Yeah.
They need to be successful, but still leave the door open for others to challenge them.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance between pushing the boundaries of performance and making sure the competition stays alive. It's a delicate balance, but it's crucial for the long-term health of Formula One. And ultimately, that's what we all want.
Yeah.
A thrilling and competitive sport with a bright future.
This has been a fantastic deep dive into the potential impact of the 2026 engine regulations.
Yeah.
We've explored the technical complexities, the potential for a shift in team dominance,
For sure.
and even the ethical considerations that come with it.
We've covered a lot of ground, and it's clear that the 2026 season could be a pivotal one for Formula One.
Absolutely.
Will we see a new team rise to the top and dominate the sport? Or will the new regulations create a more level playing field and lead to closer and more unpredictable racing?
Right.
Only time will tell.
Only time will tell. But one thing is for sure.
What's that?
The 2026 season is shaping up to be one of the most exciting and transformative in Formula One history.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
And we can't wait to see how it all unfolds. We'll be back to break it all down for you when the dust settles on that first 2026 race.
Looking forward to it.
Until then, keep those engines revving.
And don't forget that Formula One is constantly evolving. It always pushes the boundaries of technology and human ingenuity. That's what keeps it so captivating and why we're all so passionate about it.
It sounds like a dominant team really has a responsibility then to make sure their success doesn't hurt the sport as a whole.
Yeah, they do. It's this tricky balance.
Right.
They need to push for every advantage they can get.
Right.
But they also need to realize that the sport is better when more teams are competitive.
So how could a dominant team actually help keep things interesting then?
Well,
What would that look like?
one thing they could do is just avoid complacency.
Okay.
Even if they're way ahead, they shouldn't just relax.
Right.
They need to keep pushing the boundaries of innovation.
So even when you're winning, you can't let up.
Right. Exactly.
That's a tough mindset.
It is. It's the nature of Formula One, I guess.
Right.
Another thing a dominant team could do is invest in developing young talent.
Okay, like young drivers?
Yeah, drivers and engineers.
Okay.
This is about nurturing the future of the sport and making sure there's a new generation ready to challenge the old guard.
That's a really good point. It's not just about winning today.
Right.
It's about shaping the future of Formula One.
Exactly. And you never know, maybe some of those young drivers they help develop
Yeah.
will end up beating them one day.
Right. That would be quite a story.
It would. And another way a dominant team could contribute is by sharing some of their knowledge.
Okay, so not all their secrets, obviously.
Right. Of course not.
But maybe some general expertise.
Yeah, to help raise the overall technical level of the sport.
Now, that sounds a little counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Why would a winning team want to help other teams get better?
It might seem strange,
Yeah.
but in the long run, a more competitive field is just more exciting for fans.
Right.
And that leads to greater interest in Formula One overall.
So a rising tide lifts all boats.
Exactly. This all ties back to something we were discussing earlier, the
Yeah.
ethical side of dominance.
Yeah. Is it really fair for one team to be so much better than everyone else for years and years?
It's a tough question. On the one hand, their dominance is the result of their hard work and innovation. They
Right.
earned their success.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, long periods of dominance can make the sport less exciting.
Less unpredictable.
Exactly.
So it's a balancing act.
It is.
The winning team needs to keep pushing, but they also need to be mindful of the bigger picture.
For sure.
They need to win without destroying the competition.
It's about finding that sweet spot where innovation and competition can coexist.
Yeah, finding that balance.
Exactly. That's the key to a thriving and exciting Formula One.
Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive into the 2026 engine regulations
It has.
and what they might mean for the future of Formula One.
Yeah, we've covered a lot.
We've explored the technical details,
Mm-hmm.
the possibility of a big shift in team dominance,
For sure.
and even the ethical implications of success in Formula One.
Definitely. And it seems like the 2026 season could be a huge turning point in the sport's history.
Yeah, will we see a new era of dominance? Or will the new regulations make things more competitive?
It's going to be really interesting to see how it all plays out.
It is. One thing's for sure, it's going to be exciting.
Absolutely.
So thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
We'll be back after that first 2026 race to break it all down for you.
Definitely. Until then, keep up with all the latest Formula One news and analysis.
And we'll see you right back here for another deep dive.